Well, it's really my pleasure to introduce this gentleman. He is the founder. He's got a really long introduction, by the way. He is the founder of Elevate, which is a production company on a mission. Elevate is one of the most prolific creators of socially conscious media. As a filmmaker, he has been granted rare access into the minds and hearts of world-renowned philosophers, scientists, physicists, doctors, authors, shamans, and human development experts. As a director, he has helmed numerous award-winning and record-setting productions, including theatrical features, network television specials, commercials, and music videos for platinum artists. In 2006, his passion for uniting creatives inspired the birth of Elevate Film Festival. In less than 3 years, the film festival earned the title of the world's largest single-screening film event, hosting up to 6,000 people per screening, filling prestigious arenas such as the Kodiak Theater, the Pasadena Civic, and the Nokia LA Live. In 2011, he received the Conscious Life Humanitarian Award and named a member of the Transformational Leadership Council. In 2020, he directed the documentary series Plandemic that shows the connections and conflicts of interest between the media, the medical industry, politics, and the financial industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2023, he directed the film The Great Awakening that assembles the forbidden puzzle pieces to reveal the big picture of what's really happening in America and beyond. He is a humanitarian, a spiritual thought leader whose goal is to empower the masses and bring awareness to the issues affecting our times. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm and loud LifeWave welcome to our friend, Mikki Willis. Thank you, Mikki.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
Mikki, it's so great to have you here. The first thing, the most important thing, I would like to thank you on behalf of our community for everything that you are doing to bring awareness to the problems, the modern problems that we're facing. It takes a man of courage, it takes a man of faith, it takes a man of God to do that.
Thank
and
you.
I am so honored to be associated with you.
Thank you, David. I'm honored too. I am honored to be here. Thank you so much. It's great to see all of you way back there. Wow. I was blown away by stage B, and David said, come on over to the main stage. Wow. So good on you guys for all the good that you're spreading out in the world. I mean, that's really what the inspiration for my work is to counter all the negativity and all the harmful products and all the ways that we are being poisoned and lied to and divided, to bring us back together into a place of natural health and unity and love above all. Yeah.
So I want to talk to you for a moment about COVID-19
Sure.
and the pandemic, or the plandemic more appropriately. So LifeWave, you and I came at this from a different perspective, but along the same line of thinking. When I saw what was happening and unfolding, I began to reach out to the doctors and scientists that were in our network that we do clinical studies with, and I wanted to know for myself, through clinical research that we were going to sponsor, were the vaccines safe and effective the way that we were being told? And the short story is we did clinical research with Dr. Brian Daly at a hospital in New York, and we found in 80 out of 80 people, all of these people had elevated inflammation, a mutated immune system, elevated white blood cell count, and this was incredibly damaging to people's health.
Yeah.
So I was certainly convinced that what was going on was sinister compared to what we were being told.
Well, yeah, that's, and I just want to say, first of all, it's amazing that we can have this conversation. It shows how much the tide has turned. Hence the title of the movie that I released last year, The Great Awakening. We really are in the middle of a great awakening, and it's incredible. It's hard to know that so many people have suffered, but that's sometimes what it takes, a great sacrifice for us to wake up beyond all the conditioning that keeps us numb, dumb, and following leaderships right off the edge of our lives. And so it's been amazing. The reason people often ask me, they'll say, how were you so quick to jump on, have a film out and ready and released in May of 2020? As a matter of fact, by show of hands, how many of you saw the first Pandemic when it came out? Awesome. Or by applause, let's do that, then I can hear you way back there. Okay, good. Awesome, awesome. Now, people ask me that. They say, it came out May 4th, 2020. How did you know then? And the answer is really simple. My brother was killed by a medicine called AZT that was prescribed by Anthony Fauci in the 80s and 90s. My mother died 34 days later by bad cancer treatments. And so as a young man raised by a single mom, she was literally my hero. To have that kind of trauma happen back to back with older brother and mother, it was a real wake-up call for me to start giving a second look to this thing we call Western medicine. And I started to travel the world and study all the different ancient techniques of healing and energy healing, and which is one of the reasons I'm on stage here today, and very honored to be here working with a man who has done so much for innovating new technologies that heal us from the inside out. And so it was a very risky and controversial thing that we did, as most of you had saw how much the media attacked us and attacked Dr. Judy Mikovits, who was featured in the first Pandemic film, which, by the way, thanks to the censorship, Pandemic 1 is the most seen independent film in all of history. 1.5 billion and beyond views that the movie has received right now. So that's what happens when they try to shut down the human voice and the human spirit. But it was, recognizing who was at the helm of the response to the pandemic. We weren't anti-vaccine or anything like that. It was just recognizing that the people that were at the helm of this and understanding medicine enough to know that you can't rush to market anything like that. There's a reason they call it long-term studies. You can't do a long-term study in a short period of time. And so we knew that something was awry, and that people were going to be harmed, and at the very least, people needed to at least have an informed, be able to make informed decisions about their health and what they put into their bodies. And to feel that our government was forcing and coercing people to do something, with or without religious exemptions or whatever it might have been, it really brought back a lot of memories of other parts of our history where things like this have happened. If you know the Tuskegee experiment and a lot of other things that have happened that was shock to us, that will we really allow this to happen here in America? And we certainly want to be safe, and we certainly want to honor the incredible field of medicine if it works and if it truly is safe and effective. But in this case, because of who was at the helm of this operation, I knew 100% that things were going to be corrupted by politics, and that's exactly what ended up happening. And now we're making movies on people which we're going to talk to you about it later, because there's a lot of people who have experienced severe injuries as a result of following the science, and they are in the thousands, tens of thousands of people and we have a movie coming out called Follow the Silenced, because these were people who followed the science and then they were silenced after they started to say, 4 hours later, and they haven't walked since. There's people in this film who are 22 years old who haven't walked since 2021. And so, when something like this happens, it's a wake-up call for all of us. And my team and I and everyone decided, we know that this could be literally the last move we've ever made. Maybe we'll never work again. Who knows? We're trapped in an industry that prohibits you from speaking outside the narrative. And in a country that's built and based upon, there's a reason that the Bible says in the beginning was the Word, and that our Constitution, the very first amendment, is about free speech. The power of our voice matters so much. And so just understanding that so many people, so many Americans, tax-paying citizens, were being forbidden to speak out loud, to tell the truth, to warn other people, to at least let them know that they may want to hesitate or to look into it and understand what their blood type is and how they might be more affected than other people. These are the things that we've always been told to do, to get second opinions in medicine, but in this case, no one was allowed to do that. So it became very suspicious. And I will say now that we're now on the edge of 2025, 100% of every claim that was made, and the Plandemic series now is number 4 was just released, Plandemic the musical. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you need to see it. But trust me, it's real, and there's a reason that we made it. We're reclaiming our art and our creative spirit to come back, take our music back, take our laughter back, our comedy back, and all the things that are being sucked away from us so that we live a joyless life, which is not possible. The human spirit is here to celebrate and to laugh and to create. We've been told for so long that we are consumers and consumers take, but we are creators in the likeness of the Creator, here to give.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So an interesting thing happens. You and I have something in common, is that when we knew we were being lied to by the government, by the people in charge, we got angry, upset, but what's interesting is we channeled that energy and became creative. So in your case, you started to put together works of art so you could communicate through the media that you're used to working with what was really going on, what was the truth. Mm-hmm. And in my case, I went into the lab and I said, I'm going to invent something, which became the water machine, so we could empower people with a technology that could change their lives. So now we would have these tools of energy medicine, science, communication, where we could push back against the narrative and empower people with freedom. Mm-hmm. And we've combined those efforts together.
We have. And you are all the first in the world to hear about this collaboration. And I will just tell you, as we kind of tease it along here, I will just tell you that this collaboration, this untitled, unnamed collaboration, has already created a ripple effect of healing within my company. So we have a team of incredible filmmakers that travel all over the world. We have about 6 films in productions at all times. So when things come up, I have a researcher in North Carolina right now, and whatever is happening, whatever the media is lying to us about, we send teams there and we start to find what's really happening. So we are a little David against the Goliath of the mainstream media, but here's the deal, we get more views than they do. And they hate it.
Yeah.
And so it's been a real delight because we've done so much effort to fix the problems out there. But in the past year, maybe verging on 2 years now, I've been saying that real change happens in here. And we all need to take responsibility for the life that we're co-creating, the world we're co-creating, the society that we're co-creating. And we have to first get healthy, because if we're not healthy, and then we look at the human organism, we can't really complain that it's not healthy because we are cells in the body of that organism. And so the work that we're focused on now is solution-based, because we all know there's a problem, and we all know there's a multitude of problems, and problems are going to continue to be there. And so what are we going to do that we're aware of the problems, but we activate that incredible, infinite, brilliant human creative spirit to rise above those problems and create solutions to each of them, because that's when we really expand and grow our intelligence. And so we are focused on all the elements that have been, the secrets that have been kept from us regarding ways that we are supposed to eat, we're supposed to drink, we're supposed to experience the powers of nature. As I always say to people, I'm a believer in medicine. I'm not against medicine. I'm against corrupt medicine. I'm against the politics of medicine. I'm against the medicine that is there to keep us sick and unhealthy so that they get rich. And I always say, if you just stop for a moment, because I think that we're moving so fast and we're so distracted by these little things that you guys are holding up right now. We're so distracted by design that we forget to stop and to understand just how magnificent this experience of life is. Every medicine and food that we need grows from the ground. And it is often in primary colors and in the shape and design of the very organ it's meant to affect. You crack open a carrot and you look at the inside of a carrot and it looks like the pupil of an eye, and guess what? It's great for your eyes. A bell pepper, 4 chambers in the shape of a heart, and guess what? It's good for your heart. Avocado in the shape of the cervix with a seed in the middle, and guess what it's good for? And we go on and on. A walnut. Open that up. It looks like a little mini brain with 2 hemispheres, and it's brain food. It's almost as if God said, children, one day you're going to lose your way, so I'm going to make these things look like exactly what they're meant for in primary colors like Legos so you don't get confused, and they're pretty enough to fascinate you that you might eat them. And then we have these industries going, no, look away from all that. Look away from all of that. And just use the synthetic stuff here that's going to keep you dependent upon our system. And the people, the gift of COVID, I've traveled all over the world, met with audiences this size and smaller, all over the world, is that people are waking up to realize that. And they're waking up to understand the potential of the human body when we feed it right, when we understand the power of light, the power of water, and really take control of what it is that we put into our bodies and what we put out, what we broadcast out of our bodies. When we're responsible for that. And I've seen around the world, I've said COVID unleashed and awakened and gave birth to a generation of citizen journalists. Because in 2020, I could send out my latest research, and I could go in front of an audience like this, and I could tell you my latest research, and people would go, no way, what? I can't do that anymore. Now I can tell you what I think is the most mind-boggling information, and half the audience goes, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I shared it yesterday. Oh, yeah, I know that. Everybody's aware now. They're aware, they're awake, you're sharing information online, and you're paying attention. And we're particularly paying attention to what's happening within our government. And that's the thing that we're working so hard to reshape right now. But it all starts with what we do on the inside. So that's why when this opportunity came up, and there's some people I want to thank that couldn't be here today because they're so busy. My team is on a flight right now, I believe, to do an interview that might pertain to this collaboration up here, perhaps. And so they couldn't be here. So I want to thank Matthew Guthrie, Tyler Lindsay, Eric Felderhoff, my wife who is here, my wife and children are here, right there. My wife who's my producing partner. I want to thank Jim Caldwell. I want to thank David. Thank you so much, because it's changing the shape of our business already. I was telling him backstage that, we spend 12 hours a day, at least 5 days a week, and we look at all the footage, and some of it's really bad. We see the footage that gets blurred out on the news. We see the raw stuff. And we become thick-skinned because we love what we do and we know we're in service, and we know that we're on the right side of history, so that keeps us going. Yet, we're susceptible to the negativity at times, and it can sometimes weigh us down. And the project that we're so honored to be collaborating on right now has changed the DNA, literally, in my company, such that we're starting to feel a lightness within our work. And it's been therapeutic for us in so many ways that I thank you so much, because there's so much more light infused in the work that we're doing now, and you're about to see a little bit of that. And it's been a real honor. But last but not least, I want to thank a friend of about 20 years, Beamy Casey. Beamy Casey has been a dear friend of my wife's and mine for a number of years, and without her introduction to David, this project that we're about to unveil in front of you right now would not be possible. So thank you, Beamy, so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mikki. So I think we've probably teased them long enough. So, dear family, our LifeWave family, we introduce you to a new technology this morning, our water technology, our water machine, and I know you're excited about it. You want to share it with the rest of our community, your brand partners, your customers. But what if we could bring this technology to the rest of the world so that everyone can hear about LifeWave and light-infused water? So let's take this opportunity to show you a teaser trailer for a LifeWave water documentary. Let's take it away.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
I was about 7 years old, and we had a family get-together at my grandparents' house. And one of my uncles was an inventor for Bell Labs, an extremely successful inventor.
Sweet dreams, little friends. And now for the Mandarin. First, I better check my energy gauge.
My cousins, they said, hey, let's break away from the adults and we want to go take a look at something.
How convenient of you, Iron Man. So brace yourself within my grasp.
Up there. Go up there. Go on. It's okay, let's go. Come on. Come on.
So we went up into the attic. Being in that environment, something started to really resonate with me. I just thought this was the coolest thing. And when we got up there was something covered by this blanket. My cousins took the blanket off, and I saw this incredible machine. It had all of these tubes, electronic controls, dials, and I was immediately fascinated. It was then that I knew that I want to be an inventor when I grow up. My name is David Schmidt. I am a husband, father, inventor, and the CEO and founder of LifeWave. From when I was young, I always had an interest in exploring the world and learning about how things work. We didn't have the distraction of cell phones and computers, so I spent a lot of time outside with my friends, exploring the natural world, looking at insects, going for walks in the woods, and trying to understand how all these things in nature function and enjoying the beauty of it.
So we've asked science to tell us who we are. We have an answer, and many scientists are not comfortable with where that answer is leading.
The origin of life problem is, I think most scientists today claim that that is the most difficult problem, and we still face it. Sometimes people talk about, well, we could create life in the lab, but in that case, it's usually an intelligent design explanation because you have the scientists with their intelligence, bringing together chemicals, not that they find in nature, but from a chemical supply company, and then putting them together in some very intentional way.
Science is arriving at the place where our ancestors invited us to begin. And that is with the understanding that we are part of, rather than separate from, the world around us. Could it be that who or whatever is responsible for us left us a message? If this is true, where would we look for proof?
God has left his fingerprint in nature and in natural design. And by studying nature with this perspective, we can unlock some secrets that have been hidden. The DNA is thought of as a reservoir or a repository of information, but actually it's much, much more than that.
There's a message encoded into the DNA of all life. What it says is that the elements that make us who we are not random. And as we begin to embrace what that means, that we are part of everything that we see happening in the world, it gives new meaning to what it means to be human. Not only are we more than the product of random processes, but we are designed to interact with the world around us as well as the world within us.
In our DNA, there is actually a link to the ether where light is emitted.
Light is information. We are constantly receiving information and transmitting information into the world around us, into the field around us.
Light, as it turns out, is the primary control mechanism for everything else that happens in the body. If we can understand the language of the DNA, the code by which this all works, that means we can use light in an entirely different way to improve our health, our quality of life, and even change the way we age. What if we could have an external electromagnetic field that would essentially reset the stem cells that are already in our bodies and get them to function like younger, healthier cells? What if we could embed wavelengths of light into water that would trigger the regenerative mechanisms and cause people to heal at a rate as when they were younger? What if we actually found out that in a book that was written thousands of years ago, that information already existed? The first sentence of the book of Genesis is about, in the beginning, how God created the heavens and the earth. So when God was creating the heavens and the earth, there was a mathematical blueprint, and that blueprint shows up in nature. And it happens to show up in organisms that don't age. The mathematical codes are identical. The implications to this are absolutely extraordinary.
There's a new philosophy that is emerging in the scientific community. And the philosophy simply says that consciousness informs itself through its creations. And I think it's no accident that it's only now, at this time in history, only now, that we find the message that reveals the deep truth of our existence. The question is, what is our potential? What are the limits of a human body?
What drives me is that there's this enormous sense of hope that we can create technology to generate clean energy, that we can have foods that aren't genetically modified, and we can meet all of the needs on the planet that we have to, and that we can heal people and give them their lives back. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There is more information there than most people would ever realize.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
What would you all think? What would you all think?
He said, what did you all
What
think?
would you all think? If we had tens of millions of people that saw that on Netflix and Amazon Prime,
Yes, yes.
or maybe at a film festival.
You know, a little story here I forgot to tell you that I've not told you yet, and that is my incredible wife, who's waving over there somewhere. We've been connected with this company for a little over a year now, even though we just met 4 months ago or so. So my wife, we edit our editing facilities in the basement of our home because I like to be at home. I like to be able to see my children every day and not be separated from my family. And my wife has learned that our schedules are so intense that she often comes over, and thank God we trust her, because if she wanted to poison us, she could do it easily, because our whole team trusts her. She'll just say, here's some vitamins for you, take these, and here's some new this, and drink this, and here's some electrolytes, and she's constantly keeping our team. But sometime about a year ago, she started coming around and sticking these things in the back of my neck. And I said, what is this here? And she would say, just go back to work. And she'd stick it on my editor's neck, and she'd go around, and everyone's going, wow, cool, this is really great. And I will tell you this, that it was a pretty common thing that we would push ourselves so hard, because when we get to the end of a deadline, we'll do 24 hours straight, that there would be a cascading effect of people getting run down, and it would really disrupt our workflow. And I don't know, but in the past year, we've had none of that experience. And so we were already connected through my wife, and now we get a really good deal on these things, so it's awesome.
Well, Mikki.
Oh, hey, there it is.
Mikki, I want to thank you for your courage and for speaking out and being a voice of light in these times. You are absolute proof that we can push back against the darkness. We can fight these people, and we can win.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you to you. Thank you, Jim. It's been such a pleasure so far working with you. I know we've developed a lifelong collaborative friendship here and partnership. And I want to thank all of you for the energy that you put into the world to make our human family healthy and happy again. Thank you so much for that.
Mikki, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mikki Willis, everybody.